Hi, I'm Robin Birkin, an ex-corporate marketer turned online business owner. I took everything I knew and created a six-figure life coaching business in the margins between nap times and a 9-to-5, and I'm here to share with you how you can do the same. Tune in as I share the raw and unfiltered truths, big lessons, and practical tips to help you build and grow a sustainable bread-winning business online that is both peaceful and profitable. Here, we dive deep into all things online courses, funnels, audience growth, and so much more. If that sounds like the things you want to learn, then welcome to Signature Online Course Secrets. Let's go.
Hello and welcome back to Signature Online Course Secrets. I am so happy to be chatting with you today about sales. And one of the things that I used to be really great at, I guess because of the background that I have, when I had my infertility life coaching business, was marketing. Like, I can get 1 million podcast downloads easy. I can generate, at the time, all of this Instagram traction. We used to hit the explore page all the time. Just recently, I had like a major influencer within infertility comment on a super old post that I'm guessing was still on the explore page. So I then archived that. But marketing is my jam. Something that I have had to work on over the years, which is not the same as marketing, is sales. And this is something that I find female entrepreneurs, especially business to consumer entrepreneurs. So maybe you're like a naturopath, maybe you help women go sober, whatever it is. If you are business to consumer and you're an expert in that space, I find that it's really common. It's common as well if you're business to business to have problems with selling. And selling is a core part of how we convert people in our launches, how we win people over just from our profile into our lead magnets. And so when you're scaling a business, like if you are stuck at, let's say you run a group coaching program, you're intaking like 4 to 8 people every time. So when you run a pilot launch, to be expected. But if you are consistently enrolling like 4 to 8 people, you've got one of two problems. You've always got one of two problems, but you're either not generating any and warming up any new leads in between launches, or what you have is a sales problem. Something there is not selling, and relationship building and sales are so important in the 2025 climate. Maybe in 2020 you could get along with just being really great at marketing. In 2025 you actually need to have some good sales skills as well. But how do you scale? How do you start increasing your group enrollments to 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 people at a time without feeling like sleazy or like you're always selling all the time? So that's what we're going to dive into today. I think I've got 8 ways or things to think about that you're going to do that. Now, if you are here on the podcast and listening, you may know that we're a week away from opening up the wait list to join the Peace and Profit Mastermind for our next cohort, which begins on the 1st of June. If you have been wanting to work with me or even just wanting to know more about what that looks like from June up until the end of November, then I highly encourage you to put your name down on the wait list. There's no obligation, there's no guarantee that you'll join, anything like that, but you will get access to the best possible rate, early bird access to apply. And so highly recommend that you put your name down. It's going to be an epic launch. We only have a handful of places. As per usual, we filled out our spaces earlier in the year. I've expanded capacity a little bit. So we'll be opening up applications on the 1st of May so that we can go through the application and the onboarding process and then get you up and running ASAP for the beginning of June. Now, one of the things that I haven't mentioned as well is that if you applied, let's say you apply on the 1st of May and you are then accepted, you can then get access to some of the early bird materials. So maybe you want to go through and be like, oh my God, like I've got a launch runway that I really need to prep for. Help me figure out meta ads and how to do that. The sooner you join, not only, if you leave it to the last minute, you may miss out on places because, like I said, there's only a handful, but also the sooner you apply, the sooner I can give you access to some of the learning and materials that you may like to have in advance of officially, beginning with us in the community and the hot seat calls on the 1st of June. So there's nothing to lose and absolutely everything to gain by putting your name on the waitlist for the Peace and Profit Mastermind. If you look at the show notes below, you'll see all the details, or just DM me and I will happily send all of the details through to you about the mastermind. It is all about how to refine, grow, and scale a 6 to multi-six figure part-time business based on having a hero signature offer that helps you run your business with ease in part-time hours. So if that sounds like you, jump on the wait list. We're like a week away and I'm freaking pumped for this launch. So let's talk about how to scale without feeling like you are always selling. So number one, and this is probably the most important, if there's one thing that you take away from today's podcast episode, it's probably my first point. And that is you need to reframe your mindset around what sales mean. So there's two ways that this happens. Number one, on a macro level, you need to believe that selling is serving, because the more people who buy from you, the more impact you can have on the world and the more good you can do in the world. So by people investing in you, you then, not only at a personal level, like you then have the personal funds to be able to support your family, to be able to support your schools, to be able to support charities that you are invested in. But also at a business level, when we have podcasts and when running podcasts, if you have a team member that can edit and deliver that podcast, you can record more free podcasts. If you have more funds to invest, you can get better at Instagram and support people with more valuable free information on Instagram. So the more money you make in your business, the more you can serve your community, the people in your niche for free, the more good you can do in the world. So you firmly need to believe that you earning more money and selling to more people is good for everyone. And you need to believe that there's a value exchange associated with that. At a more of a micro level, you need to be obsessed with your offer. Obsessed. You need to firmly believe that the number one thing that somebody who is your Cloud9 client should do is join your offer. When I have let's say I have a discovery call or a chat in the DMs with someone about joining Peace and Profit, and I believe they're a Cloud9 client, and maybe they're like, oh yeah, I just want to do one more launch of my program and see what the results are. Or maybe I can see that they have just been waiting and waiting and waiting, and they haven't even got their signature program ready to go yet, and they've been sitting on it for the longest time. Maybe their signature program is a little bit in crisis and needs some tweaking and revival, and they're like, oh no, I'm just going to wait until, this magical moment or whatever. I feel so genuinely sad for them, because I'm like, 99% of the time, in 6 months' time, they're going to be in exactly the same place. Whereas if they had joined and taken action, they might be in a radically different place. And so I feel obsessed. I'm like, I know that this is the thing that you need. I know how to help you. I could sit on your sales page instantly and make all of these tweaks that would instantly improve the conversions of your offer. And then I feel really sad for people when they don't join, because I'm like, this would be the thing. I can see, 6 and multi-six figures in your future. And so I want you to have that level of obsession and belief that someone joining your offer is not necessarily you selling to just make money from them. It's a value exchange where they have a dream and you have this ability to help someone achieve whatever that dream is or solve this problem, and that the best way for them to do that, the fastest, the most probable way for them to do that is by joining your offer. You need to believe that with all of your soul, and you need to believe that your offer represents exceptional return on investment and value for someone. You need to believe that in your bones, that this is such a great deal and that this can be life-changing for someone. That is the level of how I feel about peace and profit. That's the level that you need to believe about your product, that selling is serving. And we all know that when you pay attention. So you might have a signature program, and of course, I'm sure someone could go onto YouTube and learn how to do it. They wouldn't get the information in the right order. They might spend hours and hours wasting their time. They might not have accountability or momentum or support to do that. So therefore, there's a great value exchange in them paying you for the framework, the order, the hindsight, the community, the accountability, the momentum, all of those things, right? You need to feel that in your bones. And when people pay, they pay attention. If someone pays, like even with a lead magnet, for example, let's say you gave all of your best secrets away in your lead magnet. Who here gets 100% of people who sign up to their lead magnet actually download it? Nobody, because people aren't really that invested emotionally in it. Versus if someone paid $1,000, then their ears are pricked. They're going to pay attention. And there's a common phrase, when they pay attention. So there's a really great value exchange for them and for you when someone joins your program and you sell to them. Number 2, you need to understand funnels and the place your content has in your funnel. So you might feel like you are selling all the time because genuinely you freaking are. And it's hard to feel like all you're doing, especially if no one's buying, if you feel like all you're doing is putting the hard sell on people all the time. And like, let's say your Instagram stories are just like, hi, join my thing. Hi, work with me. Hi, do this. That's going to feel hard. That is going to feel, number 1, hard to scale. And number 2, like you are just constantly selling and feeling spammy and icky. You need to understand the way that a funnel works. So obviously your content is designed for them to take one step further towards working with you. Then they might join your email list and then you get them to the next step. It's like leapfrogging people between different levels of awareness and different stages of your funnel. So sure, you may have people that directly sign up through Instagram, but by and large, a lot of what you are going to be doing, let's say on Instagram stories, is funneling people through to different parts of your funnel or leapfrogging them to the next step in your funnel. So if you are genuinely showing up on Instagram stories all day like, hey, work with me, that is going to feel hard to scale and like you're selling all the time. Number 3, you need to take the pressure off conversations and relationships. It feels like you are selling all the time if every time someone DMs you on Instagram, your first thought is the pressure of having to somehow segue them into a sale. If you took the pressure off and focused just on conversations and building relationships first, then you are going to feel so much pressure valve relief from being able to then, when it's a really natural and great fit, offer someone an invitation to join your program. If you are obsessed with your offer, that's really easy to do. But the pressure and the feeling icky comes from when you are feeling like, oh my God, like, is this the question? Is this the time that I ask a leading question? Is this what I do? Well, that feels pretty hard. Number 4, you need to understand that making an invitation is not the same as pushing something down someone's throat. And for whatever reason, so many of us have been brought up to feel that way, that that's something that is a thing. It's not a thing. You can make an invitation to someone to join your thing and they can say no. I also want to reference that in most human design types, we actually need an invitation in order to feel welcomed to join a program. So if you are not inviting people through conversations and things like that to leapfrog to the next step with you or consider working with you, there's a whole bunch of human design types that maybe want to work with you and would love to work with you and would just love for you to say, oh my God, I think you would just love it in this program. It would help you with this. They need that in order to take the next step. So you making the invitation could be the exact thing that they're kind of subconsciously waiting on. Also, in human design, the majority of human design types will not feel a full body yes. So there's this common phrase that came around, like if it's not a full body yes, then it's a big no. Well, that's going to be really hard for you to make empowered decisions if you are looking for a full body yes and for all of the stars to align and to not feel any kind of objections. You will always, majority of the time, have some thoughts about like, what if this doesn't work? Is now the right time? Am I the right person? Is this going to work for me? All of those things, it's actually pretty normal to have those things. And if you're then waiting to, number one, overcome all of those things and feel a full body yes. So some of us will feel a yes in different parts, but then a bit uncertain in other parts. Something like 60% of human design types actually won't feel a full body yes. So how does this relate to you selling? Is that sometimes people will have questions, objections, concerns, etc., need more information. That's perfectly normal. Yet sometimes when we are getting questions back, like, oh, I'm not sure about this or I'm not sure about that, instantly we're taking that on board. Oh my God, like I've got to overcome this objection and do this and do that. Actually, you can just answer a question for someone, and that's perfectly fine. And your offer could still be the perfect fit for them. But it's so normal that people would have questions and need more information to join your offer. This is one of the reasons why I feel unashamed about sending lots of emails, and I don't even send that many compared to some people. This is why I never feel ashamed about sending emails, because what if that's the information that someone needed to hear in order to then take the next step for my offer, which I'm obsessed with and I believe that selling is serving. Number 5 is learn the art of hidden selling or silent selling. This is the majority of what you will see me doing on Instagram stories and a lot of other people doing on Instagram stories. It's not direct selling. So if you're showing up, for example, on Instagram stories and you're like, buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing, yes, your audience is going to get tired. You're going to get tired. Whereas if you are sharing behind the scenes of your day, you putting together a new module, you teaching a class inside your paid program, you living the aspirational life that you help people achieve, details of the exact types of clients and the things you worked on today. If you're sharing all of those things, you're not directly selling. You're kind of just going about your day in the way that you go and run your business and your life. However, you are at the same time showcasing some of the work you do, the results you get, the life you live, all of these kinds of things. And so it can be quite effortless to do that on things like Instagram stories. You may then just need the occasional, like short call to action to leapfrog to the next stage and have a really successful business. But the secret is that it's like hidden selling. So you're not actually selling all the time. You're kind of just sharing behind the scenes of your day. Number 6, if you feel this way, you may be the type of person who works better with live launches. Now, if you've been listening to this podcast for any amount of time, you know that I love live launching. This is one of the reasons I love live launching, because you can have like a couple of weeks of sprint. Let's say you live launch 4 times a year, and let's not include Black Friday in that. If you launch 4 times per year, you basically break your business up into 90-day cycles. You might have within that 2 weeks of webinar promotion or challenge promotion, whatever your conversion event is, 2 weeks of doors open, and then the other 2 months, so the other 2/3 of the time, you can just be easy breezy, you can have a little rest, you can share value, you can list build and be like, yes, I'm just building value and relationships and things like that. And then you're only really like hard or direct selling and having those really direct calls to action in between. You are still, just a caveat on that, you are still silent selling between your launches. You are still list building. You are still potentially building relationships in the DMs with people. You are still doing those things, but nothing is a hard sell and nothing is a in air quotes, push. So you might feel like that is a better way to scale your business, is in this kind of sprint rest cycles. It works really well for me because it works in line with the school terms. So I love live launching and those live launch cycles. Number 7, one of the reasons why you may feel like you're always selling all of the time is because you don't have a sales process in your business. So it always feels like you're manually getting people to the next step versus, let's say, for example, you have a lead magnet, the tripwire to the lead magnet. So that's like the thank you page of the lead magnet. This is one of the most hardworking parts of your business, by the way, is the thank you page of your lead magnet. Let's say that leads to the wait list for your offer, and then you have an automated sequence that warms them up in that wait list. You're not going to feel like you're really selling or doing a lot in that process. Let's say you have a conversion event. You run it once and then it's recorded, and then all you have to do is send people to the replay for this free thing. If you have a sales process or like a sales segue that leapfrogs people automatically from one step to the next step, you don't feel like you're selling because it's a process that's effortlessly happening 24/7 behind the scenes for the most part. So if you don't have like a sales process, so you might be like, oh yeah, well, I have a lead magnet and I get people onto my lead magnet. Then what? Then what? What is the process by which you will segue from that into your paid offer? There has to be an in-between. There's pretty much always some form of in-between. Doesn't matter if it's evergreen or live launch. There's got to be an in-between moment unless your offer is like $19. So if you don't have that, that's where it may feel like launching and selling your offer is a push, and like you have to push in order to get people in the doors. And number 8, kind of my favorite, use ads. If you don't want to every day say to people, come and join my lead magnet or comment this word for whatever, blah, blah, blah. If you don't want to do that, use ads. It'll do it automatically for you. It'll automatically target the people most likely to convert. It will happen pretty automatically for you. I was mentioning in the hot seat calls for the mastermind just recently, I feel more regulated in my business when I have ads running than when I don't. Because for that exact reason, I don't feel like I'm selling all the time. I feel like it's all happening really quite effortlessly in that time without my involvement. I love going on school break with my ads just running in the background, and then I log in and I'm like, sweet, 150 leads last week. Boom, Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. They're just coming through. They're being nurtured through my email sequence, and everything is happening at this beautiful level, and my email list is just growing. I don't feel like I'm selling when that's happening because I'm not doing a lot at all other than living my best life with my kids. So those are some of the ways or things to consider if you want to scale your business but don't love feeling like you are selling all the time. Selling doesn't always feel easy breezy or natural to people. Going back to number 1 though, when you believe in your bones that selling is serving and that the number 1 thing your audience could do to get the dream life that they want is to join your offer, it all becomes so much easier. Just a reminder that the doors to the mastermind are opening for the waitlist only on the 1st of May. So do make sure that's in just a week that you put your name down on the waitlist if you'd like to find out the details and be one of the first to have the opportunity to take up one of these handful of spaces. It is where you get high touch and bespoke and boutique support from me. It is not a giant program where you get lost in the weeds. You're amongst like 200 other people. It's really intimate. We have just 20 spaces total. A number of them are already taken from people who are already in the container. So highly encourage you to jump on the waitlist if it's something that you think you might like to learn more about. I'll catch you next week. Bye.
Another episode on the books. If you'd like to continue the conversation and get more super savable tips, come and find me on Instagram @RobinBirkin. Otherwise, make sure you're subscribed, and I can't wait to see you next week.